Aloha, my name is Mr. Raghu. I'm an author. I've done 6 books on economics called Ragunomics. Today we're going to be covering the issue of abortion. We have a whole book just on that subject, and the point of all of our books is to provide a new, not only new perspectives, but a new approach and new possibilities to the topics. Mind my scuffy appearance here. I'm just coming back from a 2-week march to D.C. from New York, part of the Occupy Wall Street activities there, and just got back from that. And so on the issue of abortion, I'm going to just sit down here, take a seat. Actually seems obvious, we just never thought about it, is that abortion itself is not actually a moral or lifestyle issue in terms of the bulk of the motivation for doing it, so much as it is it's America's official family financial model. It is to bridge a young girl, the American girl, from her teenage years to her late 20s so she can complete her school and bridge to achieve the American dream. And that this seemed to actually be at the center and the vast majority of the reasons for both the motivation and the need for abortion. So why don't we take a look at other cultures, starting with Hawaiian culture, and see how they dealt with that financial, social, political, if you will, issue of the mother's financial independence to be able to pursue the things that she needs to as a young woman. So we looked at 6 different financial models for the family and the young woman, and we started with the Hawaiian model. So in Hawaii, mind me, I also got a little cold out there when I was doing the march to D.C. So in Hawaii, the grandmother is the mother to the child until the mother is about 30, 35, at which time she becomes the mother to her grandchildren. And so it provided a extraordinary degree for that time, that era, for the Hawaii woman. And therefore, if you look at Polynesian cultures and Hawaii specifically, by the standards of the day, they're one of the single most liberated women of the era. They had a far more greater degree of flexibility, and well, other cultures would see them as promiscuous, in fact, but they had a far greater degree of flexibility in love and play and work, and this was all provided because grandma was there to take care of the kids. So it's not a surprising discovery of service. There's plenty of grandmothers taking care of their kids. We just have never actually formalized that as an option. So by looking at these other cultures, it highlights different aspects of things that we even have a sense of. We just never gave it the focus that it deserves. And this is a good example of what more could we do to empower grandma taking care of the kids, and what would that mean for mom as a student, as as somebody who wants to develop their career, etc. The second model that we looked at was the extended family, the Asian model. And you see this also, again, a lot in Hawaii, which has such a large Chinese, Thai, Filipino, Japanese populations. And there, again, the girls have a little bit more flexibility, and therefore they can have kids a little bit younger because they have auntie and grandma and uncle and nephew and granddaughter and cousins all there to help take care of the kids. So people are familiar with that. Again, it's a financial model. And so I was talking to a friend of mine. He's in France, and he has 5 siblings plus his parents. And, in our conversation, he was saying, I just don't have any money. We're just part of the poor folk. I forgot the word that he used, but it meant something like, the peons of their social system. And I said, well, listen, how much are you spending on your rent? $500 a month on rent. So I said, well, listen, $6,000 a month, that's an $800,000, $900,000 a month mortgage. For $800,000, basically you can buy a little mini mansion chateau. So, and then that was before we got to utilities and food. So they were actually spending about $10,000 a month, which means they're actually, they're closer to, lower rich and upper middle class. So again, that's the value of the extended family model. It's a financial model. We also looked at Russia and China. So in those countries, they're really appreciative. So they thankfully give them room, board, social sense of appreciation for the motherhood, which is in quite contrast to America, which is so dismissive and almost begrudging of mothers. And then the last model that we looked at was the one from India, the notorious, if you will, a dowry system. But the idea there was that you would provide the young family, the newlyweds, a 3 to 5, 6 years worth of financial stability to be able to get their feet on the ground. So this really changed the scope and terms of the debate of the issue driving abortion, which is actually a financial one. It's impossible to have an interview where they say, well, if your daughter was raped, but that is not the vast majority of abortions. Has something to do with saving the mother's life. So that was one of a number of issues. Another issue that we looked at was, is it really a woman's choice when you have anywhere between 60 to 80% of all women demanding the need for abortion? Or is that more of a cultural one? And we suspect that it's a cultural one. And so the question is what kind of culture would demand such a sacrifice from so many of its mothers? And then we looked at the social prejudice of motherhood in America. You have to remember the feminist movement was built upon the urgency of getting women out of the home, whereas every other culture, or many of the other cultures, were about building out the home. And so I think that's an area of consideration that needs to be better evaluated, and we just started touching upon that. We also looked at some of the other issues, such as Social Security, how are we going to take care of our seniors, population implosion, population distortions. So in Europe, it's becoming an issue whether or not the Muslim populations are going to replace the Christian Western ones, and what would that mean socially and politically. So these are some of the issues that are encapsulated in abortion that have not been covered in any of the campaigns I have seen. And so in our book tour called Raghu for President, these are some of the issues that we hope to be able to inject into the American discourse, hopefully by this presidential election here in the U.S. Well, thank you for your time. That's a summary of our second volume of Raghunomics. Have a beautiful day. Aloha.